Hey guys, welcome back to this week's Dark Avenger Comic Book review. And before we get into Marvel Now books, we're going to conclude with some other Marvel books that are awesome. Winter Soldier issue 13. Nothing really to do with Black Widow. It's all about Captain America and the others trying to capture Bucky, which they do halfway through the book. Cap shows up in the fight between Daredevil and Bucky and basically knocks Bucky out. I just literally cut the book in half for you guys, so there's a whole beginning part that you guys are definitely going to want to check out. I'm actually going to look around a bit. Wolverine does show up during the fight to try to fix things, and so does Hawkeye, and that's when Cap shows up and takes out Bucky. They put Bucky back in the machine and unbrainwash him, so to speak. And Bucky said he only did it because, he wants to get Natasha back. And Wolverine gives him a nice punch in the face because he's still a little whiny. And even Cap says, Bucky, you've been your worst enemy. It's time to snap out of it. You've been, you're not eating, you're not sleeping, you're not anything. You're letting your anger take over. And you couldn't see that Nokov did leave us a clue. He basically wants Bucky to kill all of the people that Natasha ever loved, and then he's basically going to let her go, and it's going to be like the ultimate torture for her. And that's really it. And I love this panel where they're like, let's go get Natasha back. And then the next panel is all about Nokov and Natasha, and they're in, I believe it's Washington. And they're going after Cap and Bucky, to be concluded. Looking forward to the next issue. Yes, as fast as I went through this book was as fast as I read it. It's really it. This was basically just getting Bucky back to being Bucky in this issue. So basically, this could have all been a ploy so that Nokov could get closer to Washington.
Interesting.
3 out of 5 stars. It was a quick read, and once again, you could tell that Nokov did this in the hopes of torturing Black Widow, but at the same time it kept the Avengers busy trying to save Bucky and not focusing on Natasha, so Bucky was kind of stupid for letting himself do that. Final issue, Wolverine 317. I got the final issue cover because the other cover was god-awful ugly. The Dream Maiden. Wolverine is trying to save the Dream Maiden from the Covenant, not the Space Covenant.
I wasn't even thinking that.
This Covenant. And yes, there are flashbacks where he goes back in time and remembers that he's telling the Covenant that he killed the Dream Maiden and that was it. Now we go back to present, and apparently the Dream Maiden is being hidden here with the Covenant. Now you remember that picture of the Covenant? Yeah, well, we get to see the Covenant in present day, and they don't look so good. They don't look so good at all. They look very old. And the rest of the book is Wolverine and his ex-girlfriends versus the Covenant to try to save the Dreaming Maiden. Wolverine gets shot, and we go into instant dream status. And he's talking about the Dreaming Maiden. He's like, I'm sorry, I forgot you. I didn't abandon you. At first I had no choice, and then, yeah, and then he remembered it. He's like, I didn't know what to do with you. I'm a school teacher now. I guide others to use their powers. It ain't right that I abandoned you. And then he wakes up and it turns out that, spoiler alert here, Dream Maiden lost her head. Or did she? I'll let you guys know that in a minute. So the Covenant won. Wolverine is with Melina and he's like, I want to remember. And she's like, you don't have to do this. He's like, I need to. I want to remember. And it turns out, spoiler, Dream Maiden is not dead. She's now on campus with the others of Wolverine's X-Men. And the Covenant's back together, and it doesn't look so good. In the Alps, the Covenant gets back together, but it says the end, ... However, it advertises for Savage Wolverine. Savage Wolverine, though, does not seem like it's going to be the mainstream Wolverine. The Wolverine series that's starting a month or two, no, 2 months after Savage Wolverine seems like the sequel volume or the follow-up volume to Wolverine. I think Savage Wolverine is more along the lines of a follow-up to all the other side stories that were Wolverine, because this is the last Wolverine title without X-Men being involved. So Savage Wolverine probably makes up for Wolverine and X-Force and Wolverine and this and Wolverine and that and Wolverine and the other thing. And Wolverine, which is coming out I believe in March, is going to be the follow-up to this Wolverine series. So it just went back to being renumbered. It just hit 317, and now it's being renumbered again. And we'll probably see it go back to 400 when it hits 400, 3 years from whenever issue 1 comes out, which I believe is in March. Conclusion was a 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5 stars. I take a couple of stars, a star and a half away, because it was a quickie, not a quick read, but at the same time it was a straight to the point kind of thing, and I was hoping for something like over the top as a kind of ending for Wolverine for a little while. I don't know, I had high expectations for Wolverine, but I did enjoy it, and I highly recommend you guys check out. Look at all the stuff that happened to Wolverine before they had to relaunch, before they relaunched this. I mean, come on. It was good. Wolverine in Hell was My favorite Marvel Now book of the week, and one of my favorite books from Marvel this week in general, was Scarlet Spider issue 12. Reeling from the after effects of Minimum Carnage, Kane is ready to leave. He wants out. He gets himself drunk. He only drank 3 beers and he's drunk out of his mind. And he's like, I want to leave. He wants to leave Houston. He wants to go to Mexico and just live out the rest of his life in peace, harmony, and whatever, just to be left alone. He's not a hero. He's a killer. He wants to be alone, left alone. He knocks out right away. He gets knocked out. He can't hold his own liquor. So then this group of people who find out that there's these diamonds being kept at the hotel, where Kane is living, they're going into they're gonna go in and steal the diamonds dressed as Santa Claus is, but Kane's losing his apartment because I forgot if it was the prince or the king. The ambassador from Belgium has reservations for the presidential suite, so Kane has to leave the hotel anyway. They attack. Kane is knocked out completely. He's out for most of the beginning of the book. They're trying to wake him up because these Santa Clauses are downstairs trying to break in to get the diamonds. And then Wally's trying to wake him up from, because he's knocked out cold. I believe his name is Wally. But Arcia goes with the police officer. They go downstairs, and it turns out we find something out about Arcia. She can manipulate people's feelings. She tells this guy, you're scared, and he actually becomes scared. So she has the ability to manipulate people, which is interesting. And then you have this conversation with Kane and the Doc, and he's explaining to him, I'm a monster, you know, I let all those people die, I was in the microverse and everything like that. And he says, you're not a monster, you're an idiot. He said, you saved Arsley's life, you saved my life. According to Wally, Wally's the police officer, my bad, you saved the life of every single person in Houston. I don't know what happened down in Galveston, but I'm guessing you did good. And at the Galleria, how many more people would have died had you not been there? That's not a monster to me. Whatever you've done, whatever your past is, that's before. This is now. And I love how one of the Santa Clauses breaks in because he's asking the girl who was with Kane, you know, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm with the guy in the presidential suite. And this was my favorite panel here where the guy breaks in. He's like, I heard you have a sack of money. You're going to give it to me or is somebody going to get hurt? And then the guy goes, sober yet? And he just crushes the coffee can. And he's like, good. And then he just jumps at the guy, kills him, and then guess what? End of the issue, Scarlet Spider is back. And he takes out the entire Santa Claus clan and saves the day. The artwork for Scarlet Spider, I'm loving Scarlet Spider. I'm loving the series. I'm sorry, Minimum Carnage could not even tarnish this series for me. So the guy's like, if there's ever anything I can do for you, and Arsley actually tells him, say no Belgians allowed. And he's like, no Belgians in your hotel. And he's like, okay, whatever. So guess who gets to keep his suite? Kane! And we get a little thing at the end, which leads into the next story arc, which I'm not spoiling. But man, Scarlet Spider, 5 stars. Loving Scarlet Spider, loving the artwork, loving the story. Finally, Kane has finally admitted to himself he's not a monster, and maybe he could actually make a go of what he's doing now in Houston, Texas. And this is just really good. definitely something I recommend to you guys. It is a $2.99 book. Can't go wrong with a $2.99 book, especially because everything else is $3.99. Definitely go check it out. Now, Mike, the book I had you do this week, and I got the Scotty Young variant for it because I knew nobody was going to like it.
Avengers Arena, issue number 1.
Yeah, Mike has no book, so I gave him this one.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into it, so I figured maybe he could.
Let's just say, you should thank me that I saved your life.
I saved your life? You saved my life?
That I saved your life. I mean, I started to read this. I mean, the artwork was good. You know, story in the beginning of Hazmat, I think that's her name.
Yes.
Yeah, Hazmat, going through...
Fighting X-23.
You know, that stuff, and I don't want to show the picture. We start with where Hazmat is with Metal, also named Ken, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just talking Sorry, there's just that long.
That's the TV.
Yeah. And so they're just talking about stuff with each other and like problems and all that. Then we get to this page over here, which I'll give you an example of an artwork. And we get introduced to a supervillain, and he goes by name of Arcade.
Already I see where this book's going.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking like, oh, he looks like a evil villainish character, and apparently he is the guy, just to bring it short, that he is turning all of the people that are there into killers, meaning to murder people.
They have to murder each other to survive, I believe.
Yeah, they have to murder each other to survive. So there's just like this big fight, and they're trying to fight him, and he's like saying, you know, I'm not the villain, I am the god. And he proves his powers, and he's just like saying, we're gonna play a game of find the weakest player with the live bar thing. Meanwhile, through the battle, he knocks Jen to the other place where Hazmat to the other place where Metal goes after her and finds her, and she seems to be the one with 4 lives because everyone has 5 lives. And she has 4, so he's asking them to pick who is the weakest, or the weakest link, I think. Yeah, the weakest link, and no, not the game show, the weakest link. So he's like saying you have 10 seconds, because if you don't say who dies, he's just gonna kill him himself. And knowing that he knows it's Hazmat, spoiler, Metal sacrificed himself, saying I'm the weakest link, and he just kills him. Metal is dead.
Possibly.
And then Arcade says, welcome to Murder World. Okay.
Man, that's so... No.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-mm.
Really? Marvel now? You're gonna make a comic book of heroes killing
each other.
And I'm gonna steal Steve's line. Not my cup of tea. I am sorry. I mean, I was gonna read this thinking that maybe there was some, but no.
That's why I gave it to you. I had no intention.
With the artwork good, I'm giving this at least maybe a 2 out of 5 because I don't like comic books that involve heroes.
Yeah, he was
killing
fighting me about Avengers versus X-Men, whereas I was trying to explain to him what it was about, but I couldn't get into it.
No.
Has nothing to do with what the story's about. I just did not get into it. Maybe I conditioned myself.
So
just
sum
like
it all up. Yeah, sum it all up. I'm dropping it.
So AA and FF have officially been dropped
2 out
off
of
the
5.
list.
I'm gonna be nice for the artwork to give it 2 out of 5. I would have said 0, but I'm gonna be nice to give it a 2. So
Avengers Assemble issue 10. Things go from funny and competitious to bad and worse. We get introduced to a new villain named Yoon Gang Han, and he's like, I want you to tell the rest of the Avengers I'm a big deal, but we'll get to that in a minute. Turns out they find out how all those people ended up dying. They drank the water. And guess who just drank water too? Bruce. So now he's really sick. But Captain America and Captain Marvel are going after the source where Dr. Name, come on. Sergi is. So they're chasing after Sergi, and Captain America and Captain Marvel get attacked by a bunch of ninjas, and we find out about this new supervillain here who wants everything science. he's willing to kill for science. Love the artwork. Cap actually gets on the plane or the helicarrier or whatever the hell that guy's flying in, and he fights his way to the guy, and Bruce is deathly sick at this point, so Iron Man takes him back to the helicarrier to allow him to Hulk out, because only the Hulk can fight what's going on in Bruce's body. And that's where Captain America fights his way to Hugh Han. And he's like, I want you to go back and tell the other Avengers I am a big deal. So he's going to be one of the newer supervillains. But Cap has no parachute. Can Captain Marvel make it in time? Of course she can. So, we're now at the point where Hulk is infected, and he ain't thinking straight. And who's got to give him his shot? None other than Spider-Woman. And that's where it's left off. Will she survive giving the Hulk his shot? Find out in 2013, because this is the last issue, I believe, for 2012. Really good. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. However, I think by the next story arc I'll probably end up dropping it. And they're still drawing the Hulk horrible on these covers.
Yeah, now it looks like he's crazy. Big muscular crazy.
Yeah. But I am enjoying Avengers Assemble for this story arc. Definitely recommend you guys check it out. Back into Fantastic Four for issue 2. For those of you that read FF, no worries. The only thing it actually did was it explained why Ant-Man and Medusa are now in the facilities, and also why Johnny Storm, whom apparently didn't ask his girlfriend in the last part to join the FF, he did in this book. First we start off with the Thing at Yancey Street, which nobody really cares about, but he's like, I'm leaving for a while, so you guys better keep an eye on the street while I'm gone. And then Ant-Man is within Reed's molecular structure, and he actually captures some, what was it, a pair of cells about to divide, because he's trying to figure out what's going on. And the part where everybody was wondering why the kids weren't going into space, I kind of was right. Not all of them are going. Just Valeria and Franklin are going. And then it's just really just banter for most of the book. Thing and She-Hulk are doing some strength tests. And then Reed is explaining the Mayday suite, and this is where he actually talks to Johnny about getting somebody to to replace his spot, and it turns out to be his girlfriend. And then yeah, basically the rest of the book is takeoff. Everybody says goodbye, they set up, and there they go, off into space. Whoosh. And I love how the ending has Ant-Man actually counting down. Okay. 2:30, 2:25, and he's just counting down, waiting for them to come back. And we all know they're not going to come back in 4 minutes, but this was an awesome splash page to grand finale. So the story arc has officially, expect a pun here, taken off. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the Fantastic Four are going to encounter first in space, because now we're not going to be talking about the FF. We're not going to be talking about the 4 people that they had substituting them. They're not going to be setting up to leave. They are gone. So I can't wait to see where this story is going to go now.
So they're in space now, or going to space.
They're in space. That's it. Now it's just the 4 of them and the 2 kids. Yay. Nice. 2 books left. Iron Man issue 4. New Iron Man suit yet again. Iron Man finds another extremist in the underground catacombs of Paris. And
or is it French?
I love how the artist Landrew Pepper Potts here. Oh, she looks like Emma Frost with red hair. I love the joke. Really? How Tony Stark actually, she's like, look at me, do I look the same to you? And he's like, of course not, Pepper. You're a redhead. Remember when we were making fun of the artist, how he draws everybody looking the same?
Yeah.
He has, the writer actually has Tony Stark saying, she's actually saying, your social world no longer my responsibility, but Tony, really, do all girls look the same to you? Look at me. Be honest, do I look the same to you? He's like, no, you have red hair.
Just a redhead.
I love it. I love how the writer just picks up. And we get the new armor. Close quarters. Nowhere really to go. Heavy artillery.
That looks like War
No backup needed. Yeah, actually, there's a question here. She's like, is this the new War Machine prototype? And he's like, nah. So he goes off to Paris, and he's looking for extremists. But he gets attacked by these weird beings, and it's explained that this scientist was trying to use extremists to have these people host this new body for this weird... It's a long story that's... Yeah, you can read the book to find out. But in the end, the seal's broken, the Doctor gets destroyed, and it's up to Tony Stark. He actually redoes the circle so they can't cross it, and then the unthinkable, he has to execute every single one of the women.
Wow.
And he does, of course he does, he has the suit do it, and he keeps his eyes closed throughout most of it. Also, the new AI is going through its teen phases, and every time he talks to the AI, it's like, yeah, whatever, sure. And he's like, do I have to? I love that. And he's like, yes, you damn well have to. I'm trying to make sure. He also does end up destroying the extremists in the catacombs. He destroys it. Yeah. So there's only one more left. And in the end, he does save one of the women. And it turns out why? Because she's pregnant. Yeah, that's something leading into a future story arc for sure. But there is the other one. He actually finds both of them, but he decides to go to the one with more people involved. There was a cluster of 6, but he didn't say where. And it's mobile, but he chose to go after the women first. 3.5 out of 5. Really straightforward and execution, and I really didn't understand the whole point of this person's use of the extremist. Kind of made me go, what? So basically, yeah, this one was kind of out there. Love the new armor though, but this was kind of out there. This extremist one. Next issue will have the next and final extremist, and then I guess we go into the next story arc, or we conclude the story arc after, or I don't know. You don't know where this book is going at this point. All I know is that Tony Stark still has one more extremist to get. Number 1, Cable and X-Force. I know a few people didn't enjoy it. I would like to say it was okay. I'm going to get issue 2 next week anyway, so I'm going to find out what happens next. So this is 10 days in the future, and X-Force is already formed, and Colossus is there. And they are under arrest. They're stopped by Havoc and the Avengers. And Havoc is pissed off. Yeah, he's pissed off. He's like, what the hell are you doing, Cable? Please tell me you didn't kill all these people. And in the end, he's like, I can't explain it away. I wish I could. He tries to shoot at Havoc and the Avengers. He uses it as a way to evac, and they disappear. So, we don't know. I guess we'll go back in time, and we'll catch up to where this story began in probably the next issue. So we go 10 days earlier, or days earlier, but it has an X here, so it says X. I'm not sure if that's X for X-Force, but it says days earlier. And it has Hope and counseling, and she's not liking her decision where she wanted to lead a normal life. She actually wants to do something else. She's bored. And this woman's trying to talk to her and, say, you're living with good people, and she's like, I know they can't measure up to your father. She's like, damn right, there's only one Cable. And we actually see Forge had made Cable's new arm, because apparently he's having trouble with his arm. He's been cured, so now he doesn't have as much.
That's when I kept wondering, how come Cable has a robotic arm? Like, did he lose it or something? Like, through war?
Something like that. And then Domino is on a case, or on a mercenary mission, and Hope shows up and she says, I'll tell you what, I'll give you your target in trade for you telling me where my father is. While somewhere else, Cable actually is getting Doc Nemesis. He needs a doctor, and the doc's like, I don't think I'm the right doc for you. He's like, I need a weird science, super genius brain doctor. He's like, oh, well, in that case, I'm your man. He puts his hat on, and they leave. And they go to where Cable is staying, and that's where Hope shows up, and she's pissed off. And yeah, gee, you can tell that she's pissed off. She's lifting everything off the ground. And then finally, it's like, I say something. He's like, I missed you too. And they hug, and then everything's fine, except apparently she has rogue's powers now where she touches somebody, she can leash off of them.
And then
so we find out he's been having headaches throughout the whole book. We find out his headaches are really premonitions of the future. And we find that out because while he's down and they're talking about how he was cured and everything, basically his dreams are our future events. And you have Hope at the end saying, wait a sec, Dad, why are your fever dreams on the news and to be continued next week? Because that's what it is. It was an okay issue. I'll say it's a 3 out of 5 right now. Am I getting the next issue? Obviously. So we'll see where issue 2 goes. It's enjoyable enough for me to say I'm going to stick around for a bit to see where this is going.
Yep.
And with 2 minutes 43 seconds, I guess Marvel Now #1 of the week was absolutely Cable and X-Force. As I said, we'll just have to wait and see where this is going. For now, I'm going to be keeping Cable and X-Force, dropping Avengers Arena. So Avengers Arena and FF are the official 2 that have been dropped from my Marvel Now pile. Next week, expect a whole lot of Marvel, and there's going to be a couple of extra added-on books to the digital reviews. Hopefully I'll get this week's digital review up with this one, as well as last week's digital review up before this week's goes up. I'm hoping to film that right after this. So with that, let's get the rundown, because I got 2 minutes. I don't want to run through an ending.
Running.
Let's do this. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to also check out comicrelated.com for all your comic-related news, reviews, and more, as well as my comic reviews, Dark Avenger Inc. comic reviews, and other videos that we are doing on Dark Avenger Inc. and my reviews on here. Awesome site. Cable and X-Force #1. Pretty good. I'd say definitely check it out at least. Iron Man #4. Other than the use of the extremists, pretty good. I'd say it's up to you. Fantastic Four issue 2, they're in space now, people. I'm loving it. Avengers Assemble issue 10 was fun read. Avengers Arena.
I dropped it. Don't even bother buying it.
I didn't have the ability to get through at least the beginning of the book. Scarlet Spider issue #12 was awesome. Next week is 12.1, but I'm looking forward to the future with Scarlet Spider. Absolutely check it out. Wolverine 317 final issue. I leave it up to you guys. Can't wait for Wolverine, not Savage Wolverine. Winter Soldier issue 13 was pretty good too. Marvel Universe vs. the Avengers, issue 3 of 4, or actually it's Marvel Universe vs. Hawkeye, pretty interesting. Batman issue 15 was good, really good, highly recommend it. Batman and Robin issue 15 was also a great read. Green Lantern Corps 15 was okay, up to you guys. Book of the week and month is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 17 with new artwork that fits the book. No offense to the previous artist, but the book is back on top. I have no complaints for the book once again. I absolutely highly recommend you check out everything Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from classic to current day. Ghostbusters issue 16 was pretty good. I leave it up to you guys. And Walking Dead 105, you guys definitely should be picking up Walking Dead. That was an interesting read this week. Really fun read this week.
Wait, did you say 105 Walking Dead?
Yes.
I thought it was 120.
105.
Oh, what's
20. You're way in the future, boy.
Oh. Whoops.
So with that, that was this week's Dark Avenger comic book review. I hope you guys have a great week. We'll be back here next week for another comic review. Take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting. I'll see you guys really soon in another video, and I'll see you guys next week for another comic book review. Stay tuned for the digital comic review soon. Take care, everybody. See you guys soon. Keep reading and keep collecting.
Later, guys.